Hello and welcome to Heather and Hops. My name is Kat. I'm a knitter based in Hertfordshire in the United Kingdom. This is my little space where I have documented my knitting journey from my very first knitting project through to now, where I knit and spin and play D&D with a group of amazing knitters. And yeah, I'm gonna sort of dive straight in today and keep it, she says, fairly concise. It's been a funny old time round here. I am a little bit unwell. I've been nursing quite an intense headache for the last 10 days. It is what it is, and my glands are a little bit swollen, but I'm feeling a lot better than I have been, which is good. After a bereavement last week, we are starting to kind of truly settle down into autumn and just kind of, for want of a better word, autumn nesting, I guess, sort of taking it a bit slower and kind of faffing around the house and collecting leaves every time I go out of the house. So yeah, that's just a little bit of an update. I have a cup of lemon and honey today. It's the vibe, it's what I needed. I'll drink it as and when. Yeah, I hope you're doing alright. I know that the world is the world right now, so I hope you are finding some joy in it, and I hope that the changing of seasons is bringing you some level of comfort and some sort of welcome distraction almost. Yeah, I'm really enjoying my craft right now. I don't know about you, but I have, whilst I've been quite busy doing other things, I have actually managed to get some knitting done and I've really enjoyed it. I have been doing some spinning too. Now, I'm not going to show it today just because it is the same fibre I've been spinning for quite some time. It's a Crux Fibres beautiful bat that was blended. Brittany blended it with me in mind, and it's some of my favourite fibres, but it's just taking quite a long time, as I expected, because I am spinning it quite fine, and I'm going to chain ply it, so turn it into a 3-ply once I have finished it. But once the single ply is finished, I'll give you a little peek at that, but we're getting there. I think we're about 3/4 of the way through of the bat. And I've just been really enjoying that in little downtime moments, so I thought I'd talk about that. And while I am at it, I am wearing my Laudner top. This was a top that I self-drafted based on the character art for Laudner, who is a character created by Marisha Ray, who is part of Critical Role. Is a character from the 3rd campaign. She is a spooky lady, and I am nearly caught up. No spoilers, but I'm just needing more Laudner in my life right now, so I am casually doing casual knitted gentle cosplay today as my lovely little Laudner. So there's no pattern for this, it's just something that I whipped up and I love. I spoke about it in quite a bit of detail previously, so I won't, but I did a little bit of embroidery on it. The mohair is Lallybrock from Ginger Twist Studio on the mohair base. I love this colour. I've knitted with it a few times now and dream of knitting it again. And the main colour is woolly knit British wool cone in the burgundy colour, and I just love it. So yeah. It is the perfect drinking temperature, so I'm not going to forget about it. I hope you have something to keep you company too, like drink-wise. So, I have one finished object, and I didn't expect to finish this, but I'm kind of glad I did because, well, I got to wear it for an occasion. So I have knitted a second Gondor vest, which is a project that I shared finishing 2 weeks ago. I really liked it. I knitted it in using a dark brown yarn, and I know it's going to get lots of wear. I have a few particular items in mind that I kind of knitted it up for. I've got this autumn culottes that I wear every year, and I think I've had them for 16 years now. And it was just the perfect combination. And I didn't think I would love wearing a sweater vest as much as I did. Now, as someone who loves to layer, I don't know why I didn't think it made sense, but it did. And having finished it, I was like, okay, well, really I would like a black one, and I know that a black one will get even more wear. So I knitted myself another one, and I cast it on quite quickly after finishing it. It just felt like it was just going to be a simple basic. I really needed a little bit more of knitting hugs, so something a little bit simple but that required just a touch of my attention, that would take me away from the outside world, if you know what I mean. So I went into my wool pantry and I found I've got just a little bit of the drops. It is called Kid Silk Unicolor, and it was the black colourway, which is number 2. And it looks like this. So it is a lace weight yarn. There is 210 meters per 25 grams, and it's something I've used quite a bit in the past. I will do my best really to step away from drops. I have been working towards that for a while, but while I have a little bit more in my wool pantry, I will use it. It has been one of the most affordable and reliable bases, but again, their ethics really don't make my heart sing. And then this one is a Hobby Evergreen, which is 100% organic wool. And I've used it a little bit before, and I've been really impressed with this base. It's super soft. It's next to skin soft for, I would say, most people, but again, I have to reiterate this every time. I do not have a problem wearing very toothy wool next to my skin, but this one is really lovely. And I think, is it 230 meters per 50 grams? Yes. So it's 100% wool. And I held these two together for this fabric, and I believe I used a 3.5mm needle throughout, and I did exactly the same as I did before and included all of the increases. So on the last version I made, I went down to a 3.25mm needle, which gave me a slightly below the recommended stitch gauge and row gauge. So I had to knit a few more rounds to get the depth that I wanted, but I also made a slightly more fitted version. For this one, I wanted it to be a little bit more positive at ease in it, in the hope that I can wear it more with shirts as well as just sort of blouses, so proper plaid shirts and things. The other one I intended to wear with, I've got quite a few cropped t-shirts and long sleeved sheer tops I thought would be perfect, and that will still work with this, and actually they're mostly black, so it makes more sense. but I just felt like I wanted to have the option of wearing slightly larger garments underneath this. So here it is. So the pattern is the Gondor vest by Fibre knitwear. I've knitted a few of Helene's patterns now and I really enjoy them. I didn't realise that the Hobbiton vest was... so the Hobbiton vest looks kind of similar. It's a v-neck vest with buttons up the front, and from what I understood, because there's no information on the knitting page, it was with a button band, and it turns out it's a fake button band, so it's knitted in the round and the buttons are applied afterwards. So I think I might knit it. I really love the texture. I have this beautiful yarn, two beautiful yarns that I would love to hold and make it. I just need to decide if it is the right garment to use these two special skeins for. I think it is. I keep going back to it and I don't often keep returning to patterns, but the Hobbiton vest is something that I have over and over again. Very excited by my tea. Not tea. You are not tea. You're delicious, but you're not tea. So I think that might be something that I do. It's just the most gorgeous colour. I'm going to pause me to get it. I was going to say pause you, but that's not how this works. So these are the two yarns I'm thinking. Now my hair is, now my hair's not so green and different. I feel like I get away with wearing more colours. And I've had this Green Gables yarn by Kelsey since nearly last December. And I literally keep putting it away so that it's protected and then pulling it out to look at it. And I've been so desperate to knit it, and I've not, you know, part of me thought maybe just a ranunculus, but I have a black ranunculus. I wear it a lot. It wouldn't have been particularly special. But then I received this gorgeous yarn, which is rosy green wool. It is a sport weight base, I believe, called Cheeky Merino Joy, which it is. And there's 320 meters, and the colour is called Moss. And it couldn't, I mean, this green is absolutely what I've been sort of dreaming of lately. I don't know, I think it's always been my favourite colour, natural greens. I'm just particularly drawn to it at the moment, and I feel like this would work beautifully. So I'm thinking I might do that. Maybe I should just do it. Okay. But back to the Gondor vest. So this is, there's a few sizings. I think it's quite a good sizing range. Helene, I always say it wrong. Helene also offers up, if a size hasn't been test knit, will offer to send the pattern out and ask for feedback as just payment. So if you are interested, it's definitely worth looking at her patterns to try and help support including that growth in sizes. But this one is knitted, sorry, I'm there holding my tea when I'm trying to show you something. It's not tea. Oh. So it is knitted from the bottom up, and then you bind off for the underarm, then you divide for the front and back, and then you work the front and back separately with a different rate of decreases. I opted to do a 3-needle bind off. I find it's got a nice amount of stretch while being a little bit more structured than sort of grafting or anything. And I felt like if I was to graft, I would need to learn to graft in 1x1 rib to make it look nice. Whereas I feel like the seam on the top is just a bit neater for me. There we go. So that's the seam there. And then you just pick up for the tiniest ribbing on the sleeves and the collar. So on the sleeves I did a normal bind off. For me that reads knit one. So I do a half stretchy bind off basically. So if I'm doing pearl stitches, I will just slip them as you would a standard non-stretchy bind off, and then if on the knit stitches, I will knit 2 together through the back loop to give a semi-stretchy but not flared finish. I did opt to do a like the Kitchener stitch, a tubular bind off. I just really like the finish of it, and it's quick and easy enough to do, and I just feel like it adds a little bit more than it would have done at the sleeves, but that's just personal preference. I think that's kind of it for that pattern. Yeah, it really didn't take me very long to knit. It doesn't use too much yarn. I cannot remember, I don't think I took how much yarn this used, but I will give it away and just check, but I won't be able to get a very accurate reading, I wouldn't imagine. But the last one that I knitted didn't use very much yarn either. I think it was just over 300 meters, which for a little sweater vest I think is really good. Yeah, really happy with it. It looks lovely on, I think. I will put it on and show you quickly what it looks like. I'm trying not to put stuff over my face while I'm talking and talk while something else is on screen, unless it's that style of video. I just feel like it's a little bit easier to see. Anyway, I'm going to put it on. So I have quite a few whips, works in progress. I'll show you the Ardmore gansey first. So we have been on a journey with this garment. This is the Ardmore gansey. By Kate Davies, and we are using Ulysses by Dererum Natura in Baleen Blue, I believe, Baleen Bleu, the colour. It is a beautiful yarn. It is lovely and springy. It's a sport weight. It's ridiculously soft for what it is. I think it's wonderful next to skin again. It's slightly heathered and it's covered in my hair. So I say we because both Alex and myself have worked on and knitted this jumper. I did a little bit on it last week and then proceeded to take it with me so that I could knit the back while I was away in the week, and picked up for the sleeves on Friday. So it's coming together. So this is a modern take on a gansey. So it's a little bit more fitted, it's knitted at a looser gauge. We have made adjustments, so I'm knitting this using a slightly larger than recommended needle to get a slightly larger gauge than is recommended. The first time it was knitted slightly too small for Alex, so I've gone up a size. And yeah, so far really enjoying it. The front is cabled, so it's knitted bottom up. You leave the stitches for the underarm on hold, and then you work shaping while you're doing the cabling on the front, and you repeat the same again. You work a bit of shaping on the back. I opted again for a 3-needle bind off. I just think it gives a beautiful finish, and I think it gives just, again, like I said, a beautiful finish and a bit of structure. And then you work a kind of set-in sleeve, I believe. So you pick up the stitches and then you work short rows and then you join in the round, which is where I've got to, and then knit the sleeve doing the decreases as necessary. And then once they're done, I will pick up for the collar and Alex will finally have his jumper. I was going to continue knitting on it this weekend. However, I really want him to try it on before I continue. It seems wild to have gone to this much effort to completely reknit it the right size for it to potentially be wrong. So I have just left it. I could easily have got quite a bit of the sleeve done last night when we were playing D&D, Dungeons and Dragons, where we were fighting a coven of hags, but I don't know, I just felt like it's the time to pause and try it rather than keep going and then maybe have to knit it for the 3rd time. But really lovely pattern so far, super simple to just work on. There's nothing too challenging. Cabling can be, and shaping and working cables at the same time can be, but it's written clear enough. I use a tally method all the time, and yeah, nothing stumping me, which is nice. So yeah, we're making progress on it. Show you this one. This is a duck Pauline bag. That I've had for years now. I think I purchased it in my first year of knitting. It's a medium-sized bag, if I remember rightly, and I have fitted quite a lot in here. But the last time I was with you, I shared that I was going to knit my Cloudbow dress in black. I finally it made sense. It's something that I know I'll wear, I'll use it, and having it ready almost for winter was just the right idea, I think. I did give away my pink and green version. My little sister took it. I hope she likes it and wears it. If not, I will ask for it back and pass it on to someone who would like it. Because someone has already asked. But I'm using again the last of my drops kid silk. I don't think I'll have any more after this, unless I have some left over from this project. And Holst Super Soft, again, this is the black colourway. It's just called black, which is good. It's 100% wool. There's 287 metres per 50 grams. You get great yardage. It blooms beautifully. If you haven't used this before and you are looking for just a standard go-to yarn, this is a really great option, holding it double for a DK. Yeah, really lovely yarn, very affordable, and I think it also comes on cones, which is handy, so I might want a black cone in the future. And also maybe I want to knit myself like a gansey, but even finer. So I am knitting the Cloudbow, which I have done quite a lot of talking about over here. When it first came out, I knitted one and I loved it in just a single strand of mohair. I followed it basically to pattern. I made a few minor modifications, so I used an I-cord to bind off the collar, the sleeves and the hem. And I omitted the frill at the end, and other than that, I think I knitted mostly to pattern. This time, however, I have made some modifications that I will do my best to explain. It isn't looking so great. It's definitely wrinkly. I really like the fabric it's making. I know that it's going to soften up a bit once it's given it a proper block. So I knitted the front. I've knitted it slightly differently, and I'm going to have to try and remember what I did and how I did it. But I knitted the front down to where I wanted the sleeve to finish, and then I picked up for the sleeve. I don't know, but yeah, basically I've made it I've made it so the underarm sits a lot higher up, because previously it was hanging like almost under my under boob area, which it was really very low, which is great in the summer actually, because you want that air, but I wanted something to fit a lot closer so that I could wear cardigans over the top, coats over the top as the weather turns. So that's the modification I've done basically. As you can see, it's a lot narrower. I haven't tried this on in a while, so I do think I should, just to check that that is enough room. I think it is. I've done it so that the join for the skirt happens quite a lot higher up. Again, I just a little bit more my style, a little bit more me. For the winter as well, I've put some elastic in there, so I did an I-cord bind off once I had picked up so once I figured out the underarm and knitted down, I then bound off all of the stitches using the I-cord method and picked up the stitches from the I-cord afterwards to make the skirt increasing quickly after, as the pattern recommends. In here I have put some elastic so that it does hug in. I haven't decided, I haven't tied it off yet, how tight I want the elastic to be. It might be that it's a bit looser, might be a bit tighter. I might even just leave it tied in a bow so that I can adjust it. But that is where we're at. I'm really enjoying it. It's a really simple pattern to knit if you are looking for a garment. If you're looking to knit a dress and you want to knit something simple, I've said this time and time again, there's a bit of flat knitting, there's a bit of stockinette knitting, there's a couple of sections of increases and picking up stitches. Other than that, it is just knitting in the round. Super easy, super lovely, and I'm really excited to have just an all black version. I kind of think I would like to knit a Peter Pan collar to go underneath it. I mean, it would be lovely to do it in this colour. But yeah, I think that would be really cute. I think I'm just going to do I-cord bind offs for everything, and once I've tried it on, I'm going to decide. I did break the yarn for my sleeve last night so I could just knit on the skirt whilst we were playing D&D, to decide if I want to increase the sleeve or knit it flat and then do some quick decreases just before binding off. I really love the sleeves on this, maybe something similar, but maybe not quite as dramatic, because I would like to wear cardigans, and this is fine because it's mohair, it just smooshes down into nothing, but with it being a little bit, you know, a bit thicker, I don't think that's the right option. So yeah, really, again, it's a simple pattern. Sorry, I have mohair around my face as always. And I'm enjoying knitting on it. Nothing that I'm knitting at the moment do I feel like I'm rushing or trying to get finished. It's really nice. I feel like I've come back to that peaceful stage of just knitting for fun and really enjoying it, which is really nice. I do think part of that's kind of the weather turning and just slowing down in general. Yeah. So I hope you're feeling that too. I hope you're finding stuff in your making, even if you don't make, in your just life, that's making you feel a little bit more grounded and a little bit more settled. And this is the final one, and I'll get the tag. I just thought it was important to get the label when I had it. But this was sent to me by, I'll show you first. So this was sent to me by Therese, I believe, last month, and it came at a lovely time in that it was quite a hard time and I really kind of needed a hug. And this is a combination of Finn and mohair yarn, and I did some research years ago in kind of ideal dream what farm animals I would have if I had a farm, and Finn sheep was one of them. And obviously if you've been here for a while you might know I'm partial to some mohair, so this was kind of very special, and I've never knitted with Finn before, and I think it's quite a common sheep, but I've never knowingly knitted with it, so this arrived and it was quite special from the outset. But it's plant dyed too, which again warms my heart a lot. This is from Ironwood Hill Farm. It is a fingering weight 2-ply and the colourway is called Cosmos. There's 400 yards, so I think that's like 380 metres, 366 metres, no, a bit more than that. Yeah, 380 metres ish. And they also do handwoven scarves and pottery items over there. But they're in the United States, so I think, I'm sure I looked it up. So it's travelled and it's just lovely. I received it and I've been really craving comforting knits, and something that I do find very comforting is knitting socks. It doesn't take too much brain work, I can put them in my bag, I can keep them with me, and I didn't intend on, but I've knitted most of a sock. I've done these ever so slightly differently to how I normally would. I did my normal wedge toe. I start with 12 stitches, and this time I went up to 68 stitches. I wanted something slightly looser, that's the only difference that I've really done. And then I've gone into a 3x1 rib, which is one of my favourite ribs for socks. I think it is my favourite. I only did that on the top, the front, the bottom. The sole of the foot I have left as stockinette. I've done a simple short row heel, which again, I've got to say, I think because my knitting has got just a little bit tighter, and I don't know if that's stress or what, but there's no holes in it. I used to get a little bit of a tiny bit of a hole either side, nothing scary, but that's totally gone nowadays. And then I've done some more 3x1 rib all the way round, and I've just gone into some 1x1 ribbing, which I'm going to do quite a bit of for these ones. I want to be able to fold them and the top still poke out a bit of my Dr. Martens or my walking boots. I feel like this is going to be really lovely to walk in, so I'm doing that consciously. I knitted them just a touch longer than I have been knitting any of my other no nylon socks. I just think that adds if there's a potential for them to felt, it just prevents them getting too small. But other than that, it's a very simple sock and I'm really enjoying it. I have to say I'm really loving these Cloudbow needles. These are the ones I'm drawn to most when I am knitting socks these days. It's either these or my other ones, which are on a test knit, which I don't think is a secret test knit, but the chart is so good. And if you know me, there's a few of you friends that are also in the test knit, so you'll know what I'm on about. But the chart is so good that I really want it to be finished before I show you, and I'm nearly there. But so I do have another project, and it's Dungeons and Dragons related, and they're lovely. The designer is amazing, and they are lovely. So I will show you them next week once the chart's done, and I've just confirmed that I can share pictures and video about them. I'm sure it's fine, but you know, I think that's it. It's quite a quiet one, not too much going on here. As of this week, things settle down and we start to really dig into roots and stitches. We have finally announced a launch date of the 31st of October, which is exciting. My Drop Dead Freddy jumper will be out within the next 2 weeks. If you are interested in, as Helene does, I would like to offer the pattern to people to test the larger sizes. I think I've got all of the first half of sizes. It's just the last half of the sizes that I would still really like to have tested, but I've been really struggled to find test knitters. So if you're interested in that, I'm happy to send that over just for feedback swap as and when it comes up. That would be really amazing. Yeah, I don't know, I'm a bit tired. I'm very excited that I actually got to sit down and chat. For a moment this morning I was like, maybe I don't have time this week, but I'm very grateful that I did. I hope that whatever you are doing this week, you do find some joy. I hope you do take a bit of time to acknowledge the transitions. I'm very excited to spend a bit of time with a couple of my books and magazines on foraging and seeing what I can find to make my heart sing. I think some syrups are in order, and some sort of, yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, I mean, echinacea is something that I really should look at getting as the weather turns. I do not. Anyway, I'm just talking about, oh, wouldn't it be nice to do this and that? Yeah. I've got a few videos coming up that should be quite fun. I would like to come back to my jumper collection and do a roundup. I try and do one every year, and I'm already a week overdue that, which is good. I didn't realise that I've been doing this for 4 years now. I missed that. But that's fine. And I did think about doing some sort of more vloggy type thing for one of the winter months. But I might do it in January when everything goes slow and I'm trying to find a little bit of light at the end of, you know, the middle of the winter. So yeah. Anyway, with that waffle, thank you so much for sitting down with me. I hope you are doing well. I hope that the projects you're making are bringing you joy. I hope that your family and friends are bringing you joy. Please take care of each other, and I hope to see you again very soon.